All aboard this morning, the new movement towards getting an Amtrak station here in Madison.
Plus, it's going to be a pretty pleasant weekend here in southern Wisconsin, but that's not going to last forever. I'll talk more about that coming up.
Plus, we're getting you ready for the holiday season with local events near you. Well, good Saturday morning, and thanks for waking up with us this weekend. I'm your anchor, Michelle Renee Quinn.
And I'm meteorologist Jacob Montesano. You're watching Weekend Mornings on Saturday, November 22nd. And I gotta say, I have a little bit more energy today simply because it was fun to simply forecast for what's going to happen over the next 10 days.
Okay, well, what are we looking at?
Now, the good news is that it's not going to start till Monday, the next chance of rain. This weekend will actually be pretty pleasant, but despite that, we are seeing some cold temperatures right now. 20s for much of southern Wisconsin, a few areas hanging on to the lower 30s. But these temperatures right now aren't a big indication of what we're going to see for the rest of the day. Now, looking specifically at the current radar, not seeing anything, and all of this out to the west, that's not actually precipitation, just radar disturbances. So we're very dry right now. We're expected to continue to be dry for the entire day with just a mixture of some clouds and sunny skies. So pretty quiet weekend precipitation-wise, because this is going to be very similar to tomorrow. And as far as temperatures, they are going to rise to around 50. A little bit breezy today, but certainly temperature-wise, pretty good for this time of the year. And La Crosse will feature very similar conditions, highs near 50, some breezy weather. It will get better tomorrow, though. As we take a look at the high temperature forecast for your Sunday, we will see some more 50s across the board. So a pretty good weekend, but as I mentioned at the top of the show, it's going to get pretty eventful weather-wise over the next 10 days. So I'll talk more about that, including your Thanksgiving forecast coming up a bit later.
Thank you, Jacob. Now, this morning, countries enforcing race or gender DEI, that's diversity, equity, and inclusion policies, will now be at risk of the Trump administration deeming them as infringing on human rights. The State Department is issuing new rules to all U.S. embassies and consulates involved in its compiling its annual report on global human rights abuses. So countries that subsidize abortion or facilitate mass migration will also be considered infringing on human rights. The State Department says the new rules are intended to stop, quote, destructive ideologies. Rights campaigners condemn this, arguing the Trump administration is redefining long-established human rights principles to pursue ideological goals. In more local news this morning, an Amtrak station in Madison may not be too far down the rails. The city's transportation department released the two final potential locations. Madison has not had a passenger rail service since 1971. The previous effort to create one was canceled in 2010 after former Governor Scott Walker refused the federal funding for the Amtrak project. Now the city is putting forward two potential locations for a station. One is the Monona Lakefront site between John Nolan Drive and Wilson Street. It's the top site right now because of how close it is to Capitol Square and other transportation links.
Everybody wants to just be able to get on the train in downtown. The students, the business people, the people who don't have cars. It's just like another step.
This potential station would fit a 700-foot-long platform for 3 to 4 round trips between Madison and Milwaukee, with eventual service to Chicago and the Twin Cities. The Johnson Street Yard site is the second potential option, but it will only serve as an alternative if a downtown site isn't possible. Now, the city needs to wait to see if federal funding will be available. For years, local municipalities across Wisconsin have asked the state government for more money. They argue that the current shared revenue funding formula hasn't kept up with inflation, but a new proposal hopes to address that. It follows legislation passed in 2023 named Act 12, which increased shared revenue and was the largest growth in Maine municipal revenue sources in decades. However, Act 12's effects varied widely for communities around the state. The Wisconsin Policy Forum says larger cities received much less per capita. That's why freshman Representative Ann Joe joined Democrats this month to introduce a package of bills to tackle that gap. One of the bills would add supplemental aid payments to cities with population of greater than 50,000 people. Another would allow counties and municipalities to raise local option sales taxes up to 0.5%.
If we don't get creative as a state and responsive as a state giving those towns and municipalities more tools in their toolbox so that they can sort of guide their own destiny and grow their communities. We're just creating a problem that, is going to be even larger, for my kids.
You can catch Ellie's full conversation with Representative Rowe this Sunday morning at 10:30 on For the Record. Now, shoppers are taking to the aisles to get ready for Thanksgiving. But when it comes to cost, it's a mixed bag of ups and downs for many holiday staples. The American Farm Bureau Federation says to feed 10 people this year, it'll cost $55.18. That's down 5% from last year, but prices of some classic items like sweet potatoes, peas, and whole milk are up. There are a number of grocery stores that have package deals to lower costs. Kroger, Walmart, and Aldi all provide meal kits to feed 10 people for less than $5 each. You can also cut costs by using generic or store brand items and checking store apps for coupons. Also try frozen vegetables because the cost is 15% less this year. The Federal Aviation Administration expects this year's Thanksgiving travel period to be the busiest in 15 years. More than 52,000 flights are predicted for the Tuesday before the holiday. The next busiest day will likely be the Sunday after Thanksgiving. That's when travelers will head home. Meanwhile, AAA predicts more than 81 million people will travel at least 50 miles from home during the holiday period from November 25th to December 1st. And that's up 1.6 million from last year. In national news, Republican Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene of Georgia says she is resigning from Congress early next year. This following a weeks-long fallout between her and President Trump and much of her party. In a statement, Greene expresses frustration with her party and with the change of pace in Congress. She writes that GOP leadership has refused to work on addressing health care costs. She adds that bills that she drafted on immigration and other issues had sat, quote, collecting dust. President Donald Trump pulled his support for Greene last week after she criticized Republicans' handling of several issues. Greene says her last day will be January 5th. Now to more news around the state. A federal environmental research center in La Crosse could close under the Trump administration's 2026 budget proposal. The Upper Midwest Environmental Science Center on French Island is one of 18 research centers nationwide that could lose funding. The center employs 86 people and conducts research on aquatic ecosystem, river ecology, and wildlife conservation. That budget requires congressional approval to take effect. The Village of Holman has new rules for electric bikes and scooters. Riders who don't follow them face tickets up to $800. Riders must be 16 or older to operate bikes that go faster than 20 miles per hour. Those riders also need a valid driver's license. Electric bikes and scooters are banned from sidewalks and must follow traffic laws on streets.
Running stop signs, running 3 across the road, not giving yields right away to other vehicles, not stopping for stop signs. In between that, we had, I think, 3 accidents with them. So we knew something had to be done.
Kids 12 and under won't get tickets, but their parents will. The police chief also says the goal is preventing accidents and educating riders. Officials are considering additional restrictions if problems continue. Still ahead, we have your weekend events in La Crosse and the 608 this morning, holiday edition.
But first, I'll be back with a full look at that pretty active Thanksgiving week. This is Weekend Mornings. Keep it here.
You're watching News 3 Now this morning. Moving forward.
Welcome back. Today is Light the Green at Stonehorse Green in Middleton. And new this year, it's expanding with a brand new Holiday Makers Market. From 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. today, explore art, treats, gifts, and more at the Makers Village on Hubbard Ave. Visit 30-plus locally owned shops and restaurants across downtown Middleton. Starting at 4:30, you can begin gathering for the light celebration and enjoy carols by Middleton Players Theater, and Santa arrives at 5:30. And there's plenty more to do this weekend to help get you in the holiday spirit. Josh Sprider joins us now with a look at what you might want to add to your calendar.
It is the weekend before Thanksgiving and the holiday season is already ramping up. Here are my 3 things to do this weekend in the 608. It is the most wonderful time of the year at Hilldale Shopping Center. News 3 Now once again proud to be part of their holiday tree lighting this weekend. They had their special North Pole party happening Sunday from 3 to 6 with the big tree lighting ceremony set for 6. Savannah, Michelle, Renee, and I are excited to join Santa Claus on stage and flip the switch to officially turn on the lights for the Christmas season. So come on out and say hi and support those local local businesses. Happening the night before, downtown Madison is getting ready to shine on. The city's holiday lighting ceremony takes over Lisa Link Peace Park on Saturday. The family-friendly event runs from 4 to 6 with the big moment, the switching of the lights along State Street, Capitol Square, and King Street happening at 5. Saturday is also the second of 5 holiday markets at the Monona Terrace. This is put on by the Dane County Farmers Market. Doors open at 7:30 in the morning. More than 65 local vendors will offer Wisconsin-grown produce, meats, cheeses, baked goods, plus holiday favorites like wreaths, soaps and candles, and cookbooks. Merchandise and gift certificates are also available. For more of what's happening this weekend in the 608, just go to channel3000.com. In the 608, I'm Josh Spreiter, News 3 Now.
Remember to let Josh know what inspires you in the 608. You can reach out either on social media or email us at inthe608@WISC-TV.com for a chance to be featured. And in the Coulee, you can head out to the holiday fair, already kicking off day 3. For over 60 years, the area's most spectacular craft show has been a tradition for families coming together. With door prizes every hour and special appearances from Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, you can get in the holiday spirit at the La Crosse Center. That's in the South Hall this morning from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. and tomorrow is the last day from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. Tickets are $5 at the door. Kids 12 and under get in free with an adult, and you can find more information at lacrossecenter.com. And next week, the iconic rotary lights at Riverside Park return to La Crosse. Over 3 million sparkling lights with turn on for opening night. That's Friday, November 28th, with a parade and ceremony to kick things off. Visitors can enjoy a scenic drive, walk, or a carriage ride through the park. And Santa's got a busy schedule, as we know, but he'll visit with his reindeer through December 23rd. Now to today's temperatures. They don't exactly feel like holiday temps, but Jacob is tracking those changes. What can we expect?
Well, you could expect it to feel more like the holiday by the time that Thanksgiving rolls around. The Christmas holiday, I should point out. Now, not sure how much snow will be on the ground, but there will be the chance of snow with next week's system, but it's mostly going to produce some rainfall. So let's start with the precipitation chances. Throughout the weekend, mixture of clouds and sun, almost no chance of rain or snow this weekend. And starting Monday morning, we'll see a good amount of cloud cover early in the day, but the better chance of rain will come during the afternoon. And again, it's mostly going to be rain, if not all rain, Monday and Monday night. Overall, the best chance of rain will happen Monday night, and as we get into Tuesday, we are going to see some of that rain linger with a little bit of a break Tuesday afternoon, and then as temperatures cool down, we could see some of that snow that is especially going to impact northern Wisconsin that could drop into our area, but the further north you are, the better chance of snow there will be. So you folks in Eau Claire, much more likely to see snow and could even see a little bit more accumulation for sure. Now, throughout Wednesday, we'll continue to see the chance of snow, mostly light snow for southern Wisconsin. Again, you folks in Eau Claire could see a little bit more for sure, but southern Wisconsin not likely to see anything more than a ½ inch, and this snow looks to mostly clear out once we get to Thanksgiving, but maybe some lingering flurries, but the roads should not be too bad, at least in the southern portion of the state. Northern Wisconsin, a little bit of a different situation. Now, to look at the temperature difference from this weekend compared to Thanksgiving, let's start with this weekend where it's not going to be bad at all. Pretty comfortable for this time of the year. Highs near 50 both days, partly sunny skies, a little bit breezy today, but the wind's not too bad. But then as we look at Thanksgiving and Black Friday, we're going to see highs in the lower 30s. And it's also going to be pretty breezy, especially for Wednesday into Thursday to Thanksgiving. So we could see some wind chills possibly get down to the single digits for these mornings. So much colder. The good news is that at least for Thanksgiving and Black Friday, looks like precipitation wise, we're not going to see much, as the best chance will be Monday afternoon through Tuesday night and some lingering snow on Wednesday. So very active to start the Thanksgiving week. And I didn't even touch the fact that we are going to possibly see an even bigger system next weekend. Now again, this upcoming system not going to produce a lot of snow for us in southern Wisconsin, so if you have any flights planned, shouldn't see too many delays. But if those flights, the returning flights, are next weekend, it might be a little bit of a different situation. We'll continue to update more as that system gets closer, but next weekend definitely looks interesting.
Jacob, thank you. We'll be checking in shortly. Still ahead on Weekend Mornings, Will Loper has the 3 things you need to watch. But before we head to break, here's a look at last night's winning numbers. Good luck and keep it here. You're watching Weekend Mornings. Welcome back. There's clearly no shortage of films and shows streaming.
Our Will Loper shares a few of the best in this weekend's 3 Things to Watch.
Beautiful, ain't it? What is?
Go on a journey of change in the film Train Dreams, newly streaming on Netflix.
This is rough work, gentlemen. Not just on the body. We just cut down trees that have been here for 500 years.
Joel Edgerton plays a logger developing the railroad across America in the early 20th century.
In the forest, every least thing's important. It's all threaded together. So you can't tell where one thing ends and another begins.
Everybody seems to think
we hate each other. I suppose sometimes I do hate you. Sporadic hatred.
Get the upper hand in the 2025 film The Roses, newly streaming on Hulu.
We are done.
I say when we're done.
I just want the house. I built it.
Oh, you're not having the house.
Olivia Colman and Benedict Cumberbatch play married couple Ivy and Theo, who begin to feud after Ivy's career takes off and Theo's falls.
Things are getting a little out of hand.
Oh, you think?
Keep your head in the gingerbread.
And start your ovens for Gingerbread Land, the biggest little holiday competition, newly streaming on HBO Max.
we're up against the best. I've actually dreamed about gingerbread.
Contestants gather to bake the best gingerbread structures.
That's magic. Unbelievable.
Those are the 3 things you need to watch, and this is Will Loper for Weekend Mornings.
Well, my kitchen is decorated with a bunch of gingerbread, so
Yeah.
I think I might actually have to watch that.
Yeah, and you know, when you see the gingerbread kitchen, you know it's that time of year where we start to see some snow in the forecast. We've already have seen some snow, but the snow is kind of going to be hit or miss. What's for certain going to happen is those cold temperatures. Now, let's start actually with the wind forecast, because the winds are actually going to make it feel even colder. So this is starting Sunday night, and as the rain begins Monday, that's when the winds will begin picking up. We'll see gusts up around 30 miles per hour for Monday, but then we'll calm down a little bit Tuesday. Really picking up later Tuesday night and Wednesday, where those gusts are going to be up to around 35, maybe even close to 40 miles per hour. And this is going to continue into Thanksgiving, possibly into Black Friday as well. And you know, when the temperatures drop and the winds pick up, the wind chills are very cold. We're going to have wind chills in the 20s starting Wednesday morning. If anything, it's going to get worse Wednesday afternoon. And then by the time we get to Thanksgiving morning, we're talking about wind chills in the single digits. And that's going to continue for Black Friday as well. In fact, Black Friday might get even colder with wind chills getting close to 0. We haven't talked about those wind chills below 0 yet this year. Might be the first time next week. And I know what you're thinking when you see those temperatures. I need some morning motivation. So let's go with that.
Yes.
We're going straight into our morning motivational quote. This week, it's from Jim Rohn.
And he says, "You must take personal responsibility. You cannot change the circumstances, the seasons, or the wind, but you can change yourself."
I did not know that was the quote, actually. I like to, see the quote like as it happens. But yeah, it's very fun that we had the seasons and the wind in that quote right after I showed that graphic. That's funny.
And this is a great reminder to take a little bit of accountability for your actions and even your inactions. You're watching Weekend Mornings, and we've got a half hour of news to go. Keep watching. Your sports highlights and morning notes are ahead. We'll be right back. This morning, the aftermath of President Trump meeting with New York City's Mayor-elect Zohran Mamdani. Why their conversation was productive.
Plus, weather-wise in Wisconsin, it's going to be a good weekend, but not going to be a good Thanksgiving week. I'll talk about that coming up.
And in today's morning notes, we're sharing the disco mama with you and what she's up to. Well, hello. Thanks for waking up with us today. I'm Michelle Renee Quinn.
And I'm Jacob Montesano. You're watching Weekend Mornings. Today is Saturday, November 22nd. It's going to be a pretty good day today and tomorrow. But as I talked about, we're going to see a pretty big change.
Right, it's not feeling like November today.
Yeah, right now it is, but by the afternoon, temperatures will get pleasant for this time of year. But for Thanksgiving, be prepared for a cold one. That's all I'm going to say right now. I'll talk more about it later. Let me show you the weekend forecast right now. Now, again, temperatures at this point in time certainly on the cold side. 20s for much of Wisconsin. In fact, teens in the central portion of the state. But the temperatures you're seeing right now, not a huge indication of what we're going to see later. So looking at the forecast throughout the day, we'll see a mixture of clouds and sun, pretty much no chance of rain, but highs are going to get to near 50, and the little bit of a breeze out of the southwest will help warm those temperatures up, and we'll see similar conditions for the cross, mixture of clouds and sun, highs near 50. The average high for this time of year is in the lower 40s, so certainly a little bit mild for the middle of November, kind of late November time frame is where we're at right now. And as we take a look at today across the board, most of the area will see those high temperatures kind of in the upper 40 to lower 50 range, and we'll see almost identical conditions tomorrow, although tomorrow we'll see a little bit more sunshine and a little bit less wind. So a pleasant weekend for this time of year, but as I've been talking about, big changes are coming. I'll talk more about the temperature change and the chance of rain and some snow all coming up a little bit later.
Jacob, thank you. We'll be checking in. Let's take a live look now at the White House, where President Trump met with New York City Mayor-elect Zohran Mamdani yesterday. CBS News correspondent Aaron Navarro shares how the tone struck a noticeable contrast to their comments during the mayoral race.
Congratulations, Mr. Mayor.
With a warm handshake, President Trump welcomed New York City Mayor-elect Zohran Mamdani for what turned out to be a cordial visit Friday to the Oval Office.
I feel very confident that he can do a very good job. I think he is going to surprise some conservative people, actually, and some very liberal people. He won't surprise them because they already like him.
As the next mayor of the nation's largest city campaigned in recent months, the president called Mamdani a communist lunatic, and Mamdani called Trump's administration authoritarian. Yet, Friday's meeting even prompted the president to joke as reporters asked the mayor-elect about his past remarks.
Are you affirming that you think President Trump is a fascist?
I've spoken about... That's okay. You can just say yes. Okay.
Mamdani said the meeting with the president focused on their mutual interests in the Big Apple.
What I really appreciate about the president is that the meeting that we had focused not on places of disagreement, which there are many, and also focused on the shared purpose that we have in serving New Yorkers.
I think he wants to make it greater than ever before. And if he can, we'll be out there cheering. I'll be cheering for him.
President Trump commented on whether he and Mamdani would meet again.
I hope we do. I enjoyed the meeting. We had a great meeting.
And when asked if he would be comfortable living in New York under the incoming mayor, the president said he really would, especially after the meeting. Aaron Navarro, CBS News, Washington.
To more local news this morning, a major shakeup at one Madison employer is happening right now. Global healthcare leader Abbott is in the process of acquiring Madison-based Exact Sciences. The $23 billion deal says Exact Sciences will maintain its presence in Madison. Exact Sciences employs 7,000 people. This comes more than 3 months after Exact Sciences confirmed that 4% of its overall workforce would be laid off. That impacted around 200 positions in Wisconsin, including 80 at its headquarters in Madison. The Greater Madison Chamber of Commerce says the acquisition is a statement of what Exact Sciences have grown to be.
Certainly the largest healthcare acquisition anywhere based on Bloomberg information this year. And I think when you think about 2009, so 16 years ago, and Exact Sciences is a small company with 2 people, and they moved from Boston to here, and how they have grown and helped define this region as one of the epicenters of research and cancer treatment and cancer diagnostics.
Abbott, headquartered in Illinois, is known for products like Pedialyte and Ensure. Exact Sciences focuses on early cancer detection and personalized treatments. That's something Abbott says it's aiming to enhance in its presence.
They don't have a cancer diagnostics business, so we become that. And our people are responsible for continuing to grow. And we have great pride in that. And we want to go help change the world together.
The acquisition is expected to generate $3 billion in revenue this year and is set to close in the second quarter of 2026. It's still subject to Exact Sciences shareholder approval and other closing conditions. Well, there's still time to help the Goodman Community Center feed 4,000 families this Thanksgiving. Here's a look at some of the specific items still needed. 430 frozen turkeys, 1,700 cans of veggies, 2,900 units of vegetable oil, 2,300 units of stuffing, 3,200 units of gravy, and 3,700 cans of cranberry sauce. You can drop off your donations Saturday and Sunday from noon to 4, and if you can't make it in time this weekend to give food, Goodman is accepting financial donations. You can find the link to do that on this story on channel3000.com. In your morning health watch, a new study says many cases of lung cancer are being missed under current U.S. screening guidelines. A study from Northwestern Medicine found that the U.S. Preventative Services Task Force guidelines excludes 2/3 of patients, especially women and people who have never smoked. Researchers suggest new guidelines that expand screenings for people age 40 to 50. Also, a new daily oral GLP-1 pill can help people lose weight and improve their blood sugar levels. A study by UT Health Houston says the pill can be an alternative for people who don't want to take daily or weekly injections needed for other GLP-1 drugs. Researchers say it reduced body weight by 12% and improved cardiometabolic health. This morning's playlist pick is a preview to Morning Notes, and we're taking a look at the band VO5. Now more about the disco dance cover band after the break, and don't forget to email me a song with the subject playlist pick. That's to Mr. Quinn at WISC-TV.com, and tune in on weekend mornings to hear your song.
Welcome back. Looking at the precipitation chances over the next 7 days, almost certainly going to be dry this weekend, but then we are going to see that rain start Monday afternoon, continuing into Monday night, and this rain will cause some cooler temperatures, so this precipitation chance you're seeing Tuesday night to Wednesday could be some snow. Mostly dry for Thanksgiving and Black Friday, but still could see some lingering flurries. But then beyond the next 7 days, it could potentially get pretty active starting next weekend, where there's another system expected to move through our region. This one is very unclear at this moment, and we're certainly not going to talk about accumulation for a couple more days about this system, but it could potentially impact travel post-Thanksgiving, especially if you are flying out and then not coming back until Saturday and Sunday. So again, next weekend definitely looks very interesting. What's almost certain, though, is that rain Monday into Tuesday, and then the colder temperatures for Thanksgiving. I'll talk more about that coming up after the next break.
All right, well, we'll be looking forward to it. Thank you, Jacob. Cat Disco Mama Capolero says disco is far from dead. She, along with her husband and a few others, started the band VO5 with the intention of having a dance band for Madison. Now, photojournalist Chris Hawbaker brings us to Atwood Music Hall in this edition of Morning Notes.
You'll see 8 to 12 people on stage with VO5. And once you're in VO5, you're always in VO5.
Tonight we are going to witness a juggernaut. This is the biggest VO5 show that's ever been.
At our anniversary party at the Atwood Music Hall, we are going to have probably close to 40 people on stage, some of Madison's finest. The 70s were a highlight of a time for people to bring together influences from around the world on dance floors at the discos. But Madison didn't really have what we do. Andrew Rohn and I have been married for 32 years. We started VO5, I think we were at Great Dane Pub, and Andrew talked about his dream that he'd had and that I'd totally signed on for having a dance band for Madison. We really wanted a band that was all about dancing. 20 years later, people are really dancing to VO5.
I think Madison's perfect for it, but I also think we would totally kick butt in other cities. Boy, 2005, we played our very first show at the Slipper Club, which is now the Gamma Ray. I was in like 2 other bands when I started with VO5. First band I'd ever been in where the crowd was like, oh my God, I'm so into this. Like, I visually remember being at Atwood and we started playing I Want You Back. And the crowd was like 50 feet back and they suddenly came to the stage. And I was just like, this is awesome.
For the most part, we're playing covers. It's not a serious endeavor. We're serious about the mission of playing music for people, but it's also just got to be fun.
There's plenty of disco songs that people are like, oh yeah, I remember I used to like that, but I didn't want to tell anybody.
Tried to find songs that maybe weren't the first thing you'd hear on the radio. There's lots of songs about love and dancing and booties and shaking. Well, it's become kind of a religion for me and for us. I mean, the kind of joy and freedom that people experience on the dance floor, they tell us every time.
You can't underestimate how amazing it is to go out and dance to live music. And it's fun to dress up and put on costumes, and have a lot of people who are like, you're in the band? I'm like, yeah, but I wear disco glasses and a wig.
We believe in sequins and feathers and everything sparkly. So our fans show up that way too. Everybody is there. Grandparents are there, kids are there, people from many different cultures coming together, and it's kind of a magical experience.
We bring a sense of joy. I think people watching us will look on the stage and see that we have the joy too. We're not just like going through the motions, even though we've played these songs for 20 years.
20 years, everybody! Mayor Satya Rhodes Conway is coming to celebrate.
The 20th anniversary of this extraordinary band, honoring the many musicians, community, and dancers who have helped it thrive for 2 decades. Do hereby proclaim VO5 Disco Day of Joy in the city of Madison.
You can see those sparkly outfits and sounds of the disco at their next show next week, Saturday at the Crucible. Saturday Night Fever is featuring the band at the Madison Cat Project fundraising event. And coming up in your morning sports, senior Packers writer Jason Wilde brings the latest injury updates for Josh Jacobs. But first, Jacob is tracking Thanksgiving week. Ahead, the temperature change you can expect. You're watching Weekend Mornings. Keep it here.
Welcome back. Here's a final look at the 3 things you need to know. We are going to see a quiet and pleasant weekend before we see some rain move in Monday, and we also could see some snow on the back end of this system, which will obviously lead to much colder temperatures once we get to Thanksgiving. So looking at the precipitation chances, again, not going to see anything this weekend, and the rain really isn't going to begin until Monday afternoon. Even Monday morning should be pretty dry, but Monday afternoon here comes the rain, and especially continuing into Monday night and Tuesday, we'll continue to see those showers. And then we'll get a little bit of a break Tuesday afternoon from the rainfall. And then as the winds shift and the temperatures cool down, we are going to see some of that rain possibly transition to snow and as we get into Wednesday. Now, the best chance of snow will be for areas to the north. So you folks in Eau Claire and also La Crosse could see a little bit more snow than southern Wisconsin, maybe even some accumulation in Eau Claire. But southern Wisconsin just going to see very light snow and probably not going to see much of any accumulation. And most of this will clear out of the region once we get to Thanksgiving. Maybe northern Wisconsin could still see some lingering snow from lake effect snow, but Thanksgiving right now does look to be dry, but it will be a lot colder. So looking at this weekend's temperatures, upper 40s to lower 50s for highs, partly sunny, a little bit breezy today, but the winds are not too bad. And then as we look at Thanksgiving and Black Friday, it's going to be a lot colder. The good news is that the precipitation will mostly end for Thanksgiving, and Black Friday does look to be dry, and we're not expecting a lot of snow-covered roads from the snowfall Wednesday, so travel shouldn't be too much of a problem, at least early before Thanksgiving. Post-Thanksgiving is a different story because there is expected to be another system to roll through our area starting on Saturday. Now, we're not talking too much about it simply because a lot can change between now and then, but the possibility of snow accumulation will be there, but there's a lot of variability right now. So I wouldn't panic yet, but just want to make sure everyone's aware, especially for those of you that may be flying back to Wisconsin that weekend. Could maybe see some trouble. But what's certainly going to happen will be those cold temperatures that we're going to see for Thanksgiving. And the rainfall early in the week, again, going to start Monday afternoon and continuing Monday night into Tuesday. Tuesday night is when we will start to see a transition to snow. And it is very possible that a lot of the area doesn't see snowfall on Wednesday. It's not a slam dunk. Again, the more likely thing that will happen will be those cold temperatures with highs only in the lower 30s for Thanksgiving and Black Friday. And we also could see wind chills possibly dropping into the single digits.
Josh Jacobs recently suffered a bruised knee in the Packers' Week 11 game against the Giants, and it's definitely not a long-term injury, but it's left Jacobs with a bit of a dilemma when it comes to tomorrow's matchup with the Minnesota Vikings. News 3 Now senior Packers writer Jason Wilde explains.
Josh Jacobs is weighing his options as the Packers get ready for Sunday's matchup here at Lambeau Field against the Minnesota Vikings. He said the worst-case scenario in his mind is to not play against the Vikings as his bruised knee is still a little swollen, but that would mean he would be definitely ready for the Thanksgiving matchup next Thursday at Detroit. At the same time, Josh Jacobs wants to play. He always wants to play, and he wants to play against the Vikings. That's why the Packers are listing him as questionable for that matchup. But in his mind, there's no question he's an important piece for this offense moving forward, and that means not only Sunday, but for the rest of the year.
Like, if I can't run, I can't do anything, you know, like, and that's just me being all the way honest. But if it's just because I feel it a little bit, then I'm going to go. I mean, I can push through that. Mentally, I'm tough enough to push through that, but if I can't physically run, then it's going to be what it is. Worst case, I don't see, if I don't play this week, Thursday, I'm definitely playing. It's not like something that'll linger over past that. Yeah, so that's really the worst case scenario.
We'll see if Jacobs is up or down for Sunday's matchup with the Minnesota Vikings. We'll have full coverage of that and everything else Packers on our website, channel3000.com. And while you're there, make sure you sign up for the Packers newsletter, which delivers that coverage directly to your inbox every single day. In Green Bay at Lambeau Field, Jason Wilde, channel3000.com.
To the basketball court now, Wisconsin men off to a hot start this season, being undefeated through 4 games. But last night, the Badgers had their first real test of the season on the road in Utah, taking on the 9th-ranked BYU Cougars. If you remember, just 8 months ago, this is the same BYU bunch that knocked Bucky out of the NCAA tournament in the round of 32. Early on, Nolan Winter, making his presence known, missed his first attempt, but the junior picks up his own board and hooks it through the nylon, giving the Badgers one of their few leads. Jump to the second half, the Badgers still trying to stick around. Jack John Nicky finds the net from behind the arc, getting them back to within single digits. But from there on out, it was just a one-sided affair. BYU ruins Wisconsin's revenge story. The Badgers suffered their first loss of the year, falling to the Cougars 98-72. And if you have a little kid turning 3 soon, let us know so we can wish them a happy birthday on TV and share their picture. We'll be right back after the break. Keep it here. You're watching Weekend Mornings.